I'd like to welcome everyone to Software Spotlight, your front row seat to the latest innovations in AI powered software for small business. I'm Michael Burnswag, your host, and each week we're joined by executives at leading software companies to get an insider's perspective on the emerging technologies, business strategies, and market trends shaping the future. Tune in to stay ahead of the curve on leveraging artificial intelligence to boost productivity and growth in your business. Be sure to visit our website, softwareoasis.com, to access our free weekly AI newsletter and sign up for our upcoming 2024 AI webinar series. And joining us today, we have Ola Persson. He's the founder of WordFinder software, and he established the company in 1990, and it has grown into an industry leader in dictionary and terminology solutions, serving over 25,000 businesses and 500,000 users globally, with a vision to create the Spotify for dictionaries. Persson has made WordFinder an indispensable reference tool that provides instant access to dictionaries in 28 languages. Under his leadership, WordFinder has expanded from a Scandinavian-focused company into a truly global SaaS provider, enabling effective communication for translation agencies, freelance translators, multinational corporations, and more worldwide. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to have you here. So
it's a pleasure to be invited.
Oh, wonderful! And I know a lot of our listeners have been following the solution, and clearly you had the solution prior to the internet. So I think the growth and the trajectory has been really incredible, and I was hoping we can give people an insider's peek into what inspired you to start WordFinder, and what you can tell us about the background?
Sure. I was working in another software company selling school administrating software, scheduling, student administration in the late 80s. And in the beginning of 89, 90, I was responsible for the Belgian market. And I was working with a company in Antwerp, and I was communicating with them in English. And this is before the email time, so that was faxes. We were sending faxes back and forth to each other.
Sure.
And when there was a word I didn't know, I was too lazy to go to the bookshelf 5-6 meters away. I wanted to have the dictionary on the screen. So instead, I rewrote. If there was a word I didn't know, I rewrote the sentence with words that I knew. So I just explained what I wanted to say. So sometimes one word became two sentences. But that was how I was doing. And then at one point, we were sitting 4 guys on a balcony drinking beer. 2 of them were programmers. And we started to discussing, why can't we have the dictionary on the screen at the same time when we are typing? And the programmer said, that is no problem. We can do that. And so 2 of us left that company and started WordFinder in 1990 with the idea to have a dictionary, a memory-resistant dictionary. So this is the time when you use DOS. Windows was not even used in Scandinavia at all because it's before Windows 3.0. And so we have a primary resistant WordFinder tool that only took 7 kilobytes in the primary memory, and you could use it to any DOS application. Then when Windows came in 91, here in Sweden, in 91, Windows killed all the other applications, and Word became the word processor to use. Before WordPerfect in DOS was the application that everybody was using.
Sure.
So we had to do a Windows version that we launched in 91. So then it was a program that worked for Windows and worked together with any other Windows applications. 93, we came with a Mac application, and then we continued. So the software is available on the screen. When you're typing, you can paste in the word, the translation that you want, and you can continue right. Very, very efficient to work with.
So I know they say 6 months on the internet is like a decade in any other industry, but you were there before the internet, and obviously had a solution that gets to the same end goal, but in a different way at the beginning. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
you see, DOS is completely different what Windows is, but also most people only had a 20 megabyte hard drive, and we were delivering the software on diskettes, floppy diskettes, 5.25-inch diskettes. So our first dictionary was Swedish to English, only one direction, Swedish to English. It was
Okay.
5 megabyte on the hard drive. Most people only had a 20 megabyte hard drive, so it was a quarter of the hard drive
Wow.
to just install the software. And we had to deliver it on 14 floppy disks. So you had to put in one disk after each other 14 times to install the software.
That's crazy. So, who were some of the early adopters, and have you seen similar types of users today, or has it changed drastically?
No, it's the same type of users. It was technicians in large multinational corporations, starting at the end with technicians that wrote a lot in English. Translators, of course, have always been a group. And then schools came because you study English in school, so you need to have a dictionary available. But it's the same type of clients. Multinational corporations, law firms, accounting firms, banks and insurance companies, organizations and institutions like the European Commission is a client of ours, for example. Embassies.
Sure. So really, any person who is writing where the words are very meaningful, and especially in law or finance, where one misplaced word can have very big implications. So it's really sounds like it's super important for people that need to communicate accurately and effectively.
Yeah, it's very important that you use the right word, especially when you have legal documents, but also in other type of text as well. And most of the time, people are buying it because they are writing in a foreign language.
Sure.
But you could also, even if you're writing in your native language, we have monolingual dictionaries in English, for example, from Collins English Dictionary and Collins English Thesaurus. You need to find another perspective to the word. And sometimes you need to understand something you're reading as well. What does this word mean? I know a friend of mine in the US, he was reading literature. I think it was it was a TV series that is going now in the US, but he read the book. And there was a lot of strange word and he is American,
Sure.
but there was still strange word that he didn't know. So he looked them up in Collins English Dictionary all the time, using the mobile phone for a version of WordFinder.
Very nice. Now, let me ask you, what was the original need that you saw in the marketplace that WordFinder really aims to address?
The need was actually the same need that I had on my own, was that I wanted to write messages. It was faxes in this time in English. And when there is a word I don't know, I just press a hotkey, write it in Swedish, and I get a translation in English. And you paste in it right away, and you continue to write. So it's not that you have to go to a website and you have to go to your browser, you look it up, because you lose a lot of time.
All integrated, all in that one interface.
Everything is integrated, and it works with any Windows application. So you can be in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, or any other Windows application that is not Microsoft application. As long as it's built on Windows standard, WordFinder will work interactively with all these different applications. And the same if you're using a Mac. It will work with any Mac applications.
You know, it's interesting because if you think before the fax, you had the telex where you were paying per
we
word.
Were actually using that at that time as well.
Yeah.
You know, when we booked hotel in Eastern Europe at that time in the late 80s, we had to make reservation to hotel in telex.
You know, and I would say that the modern version, whether anyone realizes it or not, the modern version of a telex might be Twitter or X.
Yeah,
where the
short messages,
the content is very short.
Yeah.
So I would think when you have a very short message, your choice of words is even more meaningful. So very interesting. So that could be your next integration, a Twitter integration.
It works. It works for Twitter already. So
Yeah.
the good thing is that the software is built that it works on your computer. Doesn't matter what software you're in. So we don't need to integrate it to different application. It works with any application. So you can use it for Twitter as well.
Very nice, very nice. Well, it's a different application, shall we say?
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, as far as product development, as you've obviously gone from a very offline solution to an online solution, can you walk me through the process of how WordFinder was originally developed and what the key milestones were in terms of challenges that you faced and all of that, getting to where you are today?
From the beginning, as I said, the first version took 1/4 of a hard drive. So we had to discuss, should we compress the dictionary but then the search time would be longer and we wanted to have instantly access to the dictionary. But that problem disappeared rapidly because the hard drive space exploded over the years. So it's not been any problem after that. Then it was the space. First we had 5.25-inch diskettes. Then we had 3.5-inch diskettes. Then we had CD-ROM. When we got CD-ROM, all the dictionaries that we had, we can put them on the same CD-ROM. And then the users, when they bought it, they could get key codes. So just open the dictionaries that they bought. Then later on, it came DVD. So we could have both Windows dictionaries and Mac dictionaries and Mac applications and Windows applications on the same disk. And then we had downloads. So we had to follow this all the time. So then we had a storage house. They were sending out these diskettes, the packages with CD-ROMs and so on.
So for a physical distribution.
Physical distribution.
Wow.
And we had that for a long time. And then it came that you sent a download link to the client. So when they bought something, you sent a download link. They could download it themselves. And then about 10, 12 years ago, we went over to subscription. So instead of selling anything, you subscribe to the dictionary. But in the beginning, you had to subscribe to dictionaries. You had to pick the dictionaries you wanted to subscribe on. Because from the beginning, I was signing license agreement with publishers. So I went to all these conferences for Frankfurt Book Fair, London Book Fair, to sign agreements with publishing houses to get their dictionary into the portfolio. And the agreement with the publishing house is that they got a royalty based on the revenue of the dictionaries that we sold. Then in about 10 years ago, I started to figure out that I want to have all the dictionaries together. When you buy, you get all the dictionaries. But then I had to figure out a royalty solution for the publishers. So instead of giving them royalty based on the sales of their dictionary, we had to calculate the searches in their dictionary. And we had to calculate a royalty to them. So they get a royalty based on a calculated revenue or the dictionaries as well. And when I started in 2012, I had this idea. I started to renegotiate agreements with publishers. And then when I had got most of the publishers, we developed what we call today WordFinder Unlimited. So WordFinder Unlimited was launched the 1st of January 2017. And it includes more than 500 dictionaries. So when you subscribe, we call it Spotify for dictionaries. So it's almost the same. When you subscribe to WordFinder Unlimited, you get more than 500 dictionaries. When you start using it, in Spotify, you create a playlist with the songs you want to listen to. But in WordFinder, you create a dictionary list with the dictionaries you want to work with, because you don't want to work with 500 dictionaries. Maybe you want to work with 5 or 10 dictionaries. So you pick a list, a dictionary list. These dictionaries are available in all the different WordFinder applications, because when you subscribe, you get a Mac version, you get a Windows version, desktop applications that you can download to your PC or your Mac, and you can use it offline as well. So it's a subscription-based dictionary service, but you can use these applications offline. You also get apps for iPhone, iPad, Android phones, and tablets. And we also have we have for Chrome.
Like an extension.
An extension for Chrome, we have that as well. And of course, we have an online version that you use your browser to. But all this application is included in WordFinder Unlimited, and it works with all the different Windows or Mac applications, and you have more than 500 dictionaries in 28 languages to choose from. And recently, we also added a translation engine to this, so you can also translate texts in WordFinder. Very, very efficient. You just highlight the text, press the hotkey, and it will translate it for you.
Wow, that's incredible. So let me ask you, with such a volume of dictionaries, and I have to assume, over 500 dictionaries, you have some very specialized dictionaries, maybe for legal or for technical writing or medical or different types of dictionaries. How do you select the dictionaries based on the quality of the resource? Or, I mean, I'm sure there aren't many more people in the world that have a better grasp on the quality of a selection than yourself. How do you? What's the process that you go through to pick partners?
First, when we look at a new language, if we want dictionary for a new language, we're looking at Turkish now, for example. We're discussing with Turkish publishers. So, of course, we want the largest general dictionary. So we always focused on getting the largest general dictionaries, but then we also want specialized dictionaries. So we want technical dictionaries, we want business dictionary, financial dictionaries, legal dictionaries, medical dictionaries. The more specialized dictionary we have in one language, the better we sell, of course, because the portfolio is better in that language category. It's more valuable because then the user gets all these dictionaries that they can use. And in some languages, like in Swedish and German, we have really specialized technical dictionaries. I think in Swedish to English, German, French, Spanish, we have like 30 different, very, very small specialized dictionaries. So we have like waste management, nuclear energy, all these kinds of glass dictionary, paper dictionary, from all the terms from you cut down a tree until it becomes paper. Wow. All that terminology is in one dictionary. So it's a very, very specific terminology. We've also something called IATE, Interactive Terminology for Europe. This is something that the European Commission has created, starting in the late 90s, to make a term base for all the member states. Swedish to English has about 400,000 terms. English to French has 1.4 million terms. And this is terms for transportation, legal terms, business terms, healthcare terms, all kinds of terms that have been in any EU document. They've made and all that is available in WordFinder as well. So if you pick IATE from English to French, for example, and then Larousse French-English Dictionary, you can create a group with these and it's searching both of them at the same time.
And out of curiosity, I would assume that some dictionaries, like I would think, some of the American dictionaries are updated every year. Other dictionaries are very specialized and are probably not updated quite as often. Do people that are on the WordFinder Unlimited, as you had mentioned, receive updates to the dictionaries over time, or how does that work?
Yes, all the time. So as soon as we update a dictionary, it will be uploaded to our server, and it will automatically, if you use the online version, you see the new version right away. But if you use it, you download the desktop application, and you might have even downloaded the dictionary, it will automatically download the new updates for you. So you always have the latest version of the dictionary. But then it's depending. Some publishing houses update every fifth year. Some do it every year. So it's very different. But when there is an update, the user will get it.
So prior to WordFinder, what was the traditional distribution mechanism for a lot of these dictionaries? I know a lot of the dictionaries here in the States go back hundreds of years, but I'm sure in other parts of the world it's very similar. How were these products originally sold, and outside of WordFinder, how were they
originally sold? Most of first of all, If we go back, it was paper form dictionaries, if we go
Sure.
back. But then in the late 80s, then there came electronic dictionaries, like WordFinder on diskettes and so on. That was some CD-ROM very early.
Sure.
But it was the publishing houses that tried to sell it like a book. So
Okay.
this was probably sold still in the bookshop, but it was diskettes or CD-ROM. The problem for the publishing houses in the 90s, when we tried to license from them, was that maybe they got a programmer to make a software for them, a Windows software. They put some dictionaries in there, and then they produced maybe 10,000 copies, like they do with a book. And then they put it 10,000 copies in the storage and put it in the bookkeeping that we have a storage of 10,000 copies of this program. And then Microsoft made a change, and all these 10,000 copies with errors couldn't be sold anymore. Right. So they had to throw that away. The difference, what we did was that we had the discs or the CD-ROM. We only produced 50 at a time. So we have orders from a supplier all the time. So, and from the beginning, we had the software on one diskette and then the dictionaries on other diskettes. So if Microsoft made a change, we could just throw that away, the program disk, and replace it with 50 new program disks. And we packaged the software the same day it was sold. So we never pre-packaged anything.
So the software and the dictionary were two separate units, right?
In the beginning, it was that. Yeah. So we sold it at two separate units. So you bought the software, one price. You bought the dictionaries you wanted, another price. If you wanted 2 dictionaries, you could buy that, or 3 dictionaries. So there was one price on each dictionary.
Sure.
Usually the same price, but you both had to buy the software to be able to use the dictionary.
Which is brilliant, because the software could keep evolving while the dictionaries were a static format.
Yeah.
So you mentioned over 500 dictionaries.
Yeah. Actually, today it's 547 today, because I checked earlier today.
That's crazy. So out of curiosity, obviously, there are other dictionaries that either you did not choose or do not have within the solution. How many dictionaries are there in the world? I mean, do you have,
there must be a lot.
Thousands or?
Yeah, many thousands.
Okay, so you need to be selective to find the best of breed.
I absolutely need to be selective, because there are, for example, we only choose the largest dictionary. So if you go to one publishing house, for example, they could have maybe 5 different French-German dictionaries, just as an example.
Right.
Because there are a school dictionary for smaller kids, then for high school kids, and then for others, college students, and then for professors, and all this. But we only focus on the largest one because it suits everyone from high school and up, even though...
Makes sense.
And also always the largest one, because we don't need to think about size. When you create a book, it's always the size that is important. If you have this size with only 30,000 keywords, it can be cheaper, of course, than if you have 160,000 keywords, because that book is much bigger, much cost more to print. But when you have it on your computer, it doesn't matter. If you sell the large one or the small one, you can have the same price anyway. So we always pick the large one. So you always get that. And today, the space is no problem anymore. The Collins largest Collins English Dictionary, or Collins Spanish English Dictionary, complete and unabridged, several 100,000 words. It's 60 megabyte on the heart, and it's nothing today.
Yeah, nothing by today's standards. So can you give an idea, the solution itself? You mentioned a lot of different specialized dictionaries. Can you give an example or a few case studies of some different entities that are using the solution, and how they're using it, and the like, and maybe some metrics?
I don't have any metrics here, but we have a lot of large corporations that use very specialized dictionaries.
Sure.
We have a lot of sawmills, for example, in Sweden, and paper factory that creates paper. So they use the paper dictionary, of course.
Got it.
We have nuclear energy plants that use the nuclear energy terminology. We have like AstraZeneca medical, and of course they use medical dictionaries. In Scandinavia, we have most of the law firms and all the attorneys. And of course, they use specialized legal dictionaries and specialized financial dictionaries with all the terminology for an accountant.
Sure. No, it's very exciting. And obviously with the range of specialized dictionaries, the number of markets that the product has an application for is just endless. It seems
and we recently launched a new dictionary, German, English, English, German, just for automotive terminology. A huge dictionary, but just for automotive. And of course, there is a lot of car manufacturers in Germany that we hope that we can sell these to. That will use the automotive dictionary.
So a lot of these, different dictionaries within the unlimited, set could be used, let's say, within an organization by many different departments and many different individual users in different ways.
Absolutely, because every user can pick their own dictionary list. So it's not like the company is doing that. Every individual can do that, because some may want to have Spanish to English and another one would have French to English, and they can take the specialized dictionaries there. And then, of course, when you go on a holiday, then you take your mobile phone and you're going to Mexico. So you download the Spanish English dictionary and you have that with you when you're traveling.
Very interesting, very interesting. And overall, in terms of, the solution itself and different ways in which companies can license the product, is it licensed for the whole company or per user, or is it a flexible model, or how does that work?
The price is always per user, but of course, if it's a large corporation, the price per user is, of course, less than if a single user license buys it. But you always count per user.
Okay. And how would you say, in terms of raising the awareness of the platform, how do you get the word out there about WordFinder? What is typical for your marketing and strategy?
It's social media, conferences, a lot of translations conference I go to get the translators to use the software, because translators, even though we have a lot of different type of clients, translators are the client that are using all the functionality, and it's often translators that give you a request of new features, so that we all the time can make it better and better and better. That comes from the translator. So a user at a large corporation,
they're really your power users. Yeah,
that are our power users are the translators. Absolutely.
Got it. Okay. And in terms of, do you find existing users refer other users? Is that common?
Yes. Yeah. Especially in the all the law firms in Sweden. I think we have all of them. So they have been talking to each other. That's for sure.
Sure. No, I mean, if you think about it, it truly is, for any company, any organization, a competitive advantage to have, a solution that helps them to excel in words. That's really a key to it. And how would you say the growth and adoption of WordFinder has been, since launching the solution on the internet? How has that changed your trajectory?
Yeah, it's been growing all the time, and it's but so far most of our clients are in Scandinavia and the Western Europe. We have a lot of clients in the US, but it's mostly translators in the US and South America. Sure. So we would like more corporations and schools and universities on the American market. So we need to get more into the American market.
Well, it's our hope to help you get there.
I look forward to that.
Yeah, from this end of it. I know we've been chatting about the solution, but I'm sure a lot of the listeners are going to check it out. We'll leave a link in the show notes, but it would be great if you could do a screen share and give us a high-level overview of the solution so people can visually see what WordFinder looks like for all of our viewers that are on video, and that would be great.
I'll be happy to do that. I'll share my screen here.
Sure.
So here we have WordFinder. With Control-Shift, WordFinder comes up on the screen.
Okay.
With Escape, it goes away again.
Perfect.
And so it's really easy. Anywhere you are, you press Control-Shift, WordFinder comes up on the screen, and with Escape, it goes away again. So I'm going to show it together with a word processor. So I have Word here.
Okay.
Let's say I'm a Spanish-speaking person writing in English. Do you see that, or should I make it larger?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah.
So let's say I'm a broker. I don't know what broker is in English. So I press Control-Shift. WordFinder comes up on the screen. We see on top that we are in Collins Spanish-English Dictionary. And I write the Spanish word agente. I find agente, and you see a lot of translations here. Agente de bolsa with the translation stockbroker. This is the word I want. You see that all the words that are light purple here are pastable into the application I open WordFinder from. And in this case, it's Word. So I just double click on stockbroker. WordFinder will disappear. Stockbroker will be pasted right into my application, and I can continue to write. I'm a stockbroker in Spain. Yesterday, let's say I made a good deal or a good bargain, but I'm not really sure how to express myself. So I press Control-Shift again. WordFinder comes up on the screen. I write the Spanish word negocio. I find negocio with the translation business, shop, store, and further down I see o negocio redondo, a real bargain or a really good deal. You see that the whole phrase is now pastable. So I can point anywhere on the phrase. I double click, the whole phrase will be pasted right into my application, and I can continue to write. Wow. Yesterday I made a really good deal when I sold let's say I sold my trousers, but I'm not sure which word to use. So I can write pantalon here in the text, and I just highlight that. And then I press the hotkey, Control-Shift, and it looks up pantalon for me. And in this case, maybe I would like the American word pants. So I just double click on pants. Pantalon would be changed into pants. And then I'm ready with my text. So it's really, really easy to work with.
That's really powerful. You make it look so easy, but I know there's a lot of tech behind the scenes.
Yeah, it is easy to use it. Then, as I talked about before, that you make your own dictionary list. Here you see all the dictionaries that are available. So if you want, for example, let's say you want English into German, here are all the English-German dictionaries. So you have...
So really easy to select and to view the different options.
And you see here that this dictionary is downloaded. This icon means that it's downloaded on my computer. This dictionary is still in the cloud. But if I want to download it, I just click on it, and it will be downloaded, and I will have it offline. And I can be on a train or a plane and use the software without needing to think about the roaming charges or if I have a good internet connection.
That's a really great point, because I just like Spotify, where you can download your tunes, same idea here with your dictionaries.
Actually, we have looked very much at Spotify and tried to do a dictionary tool that is very, very similar.
And the funny thing is, I think a lot of the younger generation may admit to having a Spotify subscription. They may not admit to having a WordFinder subscription.
No. I hope they will, though.
Yeah.
I can also show you the translation part. So this is when you're creating a text, you want to write something, or if you're reading a text and you want to look up a word, you just highlight that and look it up. But you can also use this for, let's see here are you still there?
I am, yes.
Yeah, good. So we have a client called Tetra Pak, which creates packages, everything from juice and milk packages and everything. And here they are Japanese site. So And if there is a text I don't understand, I can just highlight this, press the hotkey again. So if you mark more than 3 words, it would look it up in the translation engine instead of in the dictionary engine.
Okay.
You can choose, if you want 5 words instead, you can choose that on your own. But I have 3 words, and I've marked more than 3 words here. So if I press Control Shift now, it goes into the Japanese. Now I had a Turkish presentation this morning, so it went to translate it to Turkish. But if we now choose it to American English, I get this translation in American English right away. So it's really, really efficient to work with. This translation part includes 100,000 credits, which is 100,000 characters when you subscribe to WordFinder Unlimited. And then you can add more credits. So you see I have my credits down at the bottom here. So if you use it a lot, you can add credits. So
I would say you were one of the pioneers in licensing, to be honest.
I think so too. Yeah, I've been licensing a lot of parts for the software and also for the dictionaries, of course.
So let me ask you, over the last year or so, are there a handful of updates and new things that have been added to the solution that you're really proud of that you'd like to highlight?
Yeah, absolutely. This is one. The translation part that I showed you was actually launched in October last year, so it's really new. We also launched last year that you can import your own glossaries. So it could be in a corporation, you've created the corporate terminology for your business. You might have it in an Excel sheet, or you might have it a terminology database, which might be very complex for the ordinary user to use. But then you can export it from that solution and import it into WordFinder, and you will have your corporate terminology available at the same time. So you create a group with your own terminology on top, of course, with a higher priority. Then you maybe have a technical dictionary and the general dictionary at the bottom. And then WordFinder will search in all these 3 dictionaries at the same time. So it could be a corporation that has a corporate terminology. It could be a single translator that has a glossary for each client. So they can import that into WordFinder, which is much easier than look in another form, in another tool to look it up. So there are 2 updates that we did last year to be able to import your own glossaries, and the translation part that I'm really proud of.
Yeah, those sound like a couple of really nice enhancements to the solution. And then the other question I had, in terms of either expansion or new updates and things that you see on the horizon, is there anything that you can share with us that's on your roadmap? Or
yeah, there are parts. We have the glossaries, the corporate glossaries. We have the translation. We want to connect this so that the translation part is using the corporate terminology. That is not done yet. That is something that I really would like to do over the next, hopefully this year. That
very nice.
If you put in your corporate terminology, then the translation engine would look at the corporate terminology and pick those words that you've decided that your corporation should use.
Very nice. No, and obviously, a lot of the feedback and updates and things like that are accessible to any of the users that are on the platform. So that's nice to see that even after all these years, you're still innovating. So that's exciting.
Well, you need to do that all the time because everything else has been innovated. There are new versions of Windows and Office and everything, so we need to keep up. Microsoft is actually creating the speed in this business.
Sure.
So we just need to keep up, and Apple, of course, as well, and Amazon, and we need to keep up.
And are there any particular dictionaries that you're hoping, or new languages that you're hoping to expand into?
We are looking at we have just signed a distribution agreement with a partner in Turkey. So we are at the moment we're discussing with the Turkish publishing houses to get Turkish dictionaries because we haven't had that in the past. So that is the plan for this year. We recently signed agreement with a Polish company. So we are still in the startup phase there. We need to get Polish dictionaries and the sales in Poland. We need to get that up and running. And also Japan. We have had a business in Japan for 1.5 years, and it's still very slow. So we need to speed that up. So it will be Japanese, Polish, and Turkish is what we really will focus on this year.
Yeah, so I would think that with the solution being so mature, and that's an understatement, that really the largest opportunity is really just expanding market share.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, but it's difficult to market in like, I don't have any knowledge of the Turkish market or the Japanese market. So you need to have partners.
You need partners
to do this marketing in these areas, and but to incorporate more dictionaries is really easy for us. So we just need to get contacts with the publishing houses, for example, Japanese and Turkish, sign agreements, and then add it into the solution, and then we just need partners to sell.
No, very nice. And I know obviously you'll have the opportunity on one of our upcoming AI webinars to get in front of a lot of new clients and potential users of WordFinder. So I think that's exciting on our end, and it's always interesting to have a solution that is something that can really add value to a lot of different organizations and users at a different level, and it's clearly something that is unique and not a Me Too type of product. So that's exciting.
Absolutely. And for the American market, all the dictionaries we have, not all, but most of the dictionaries we have are to and from English.
Sure.
So there will be a huge number of dictionaries that have English as one language. And so for an organization in the US, not only if they are writing in German and Spanish and French and Scandinavian, for example, but also if they have people that are coming from other countries, expats, for example, they can still use it for their native language. I know in the US there is a lot of people that have Spanish as their native language, and all those people that have Spanish, they can use the Spanish-English dictionaries all the time while they're working. If there is a word they don't know in English, or the other way around, they can just check it up with the hotkey right away, and they get these words very, very easy.
And let me ask you, are colleges and universities a market for the solution?
Absolutely. It's a really big market, and we have really good prices for schools and universities. Much lower prices than for corporations, because we want it to be used in schools by students, because they do it to learn a language, not to produce something. So we have like Gothenburg University, Stockholm University, they bought it for all the students have WordFinder.
Very exciting. And something you shared with me early on in one of our early discussions, I did not realize, but my alma mater, I actually went to Babson College here in the US in Wellesley, Mass, and you shared to me that you had taken an executive education class there.
Yeah, I was really happy to have been there, and I would have liked to study there. I would really like to. We had some lectures there, and really interesting marketing lectures that I really appreciate.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic university, here in the U.S. for business and the like. And recently, a few years back, they actually extended the campus to add the Olin Center, which or the engineering segment of the university, but mainly the school is noted as one of the top business colleges here in the U.S. So very interesting, and
especially for entrepreneurs, I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think I fit the bill. This is my third startup, so there you go. But no, and I think that gives us a really good high-level overview of WordFinder. Now, you also mentioned that in addition to the offline dictionary and capability. Obviously, there's the online solution, but then you mentioned an Android and an iOS app. So those are,
They're also
is
available
all
as
of
well.
that included in the one subscription, or?
Everything is included. So for the apps, for the mobile apps, you just go to App Store or Google Play and download the WordFinder app, and then you just log in with your username and password once, and then you have it on your phone all the time. And then, like I showed you, to download dictionaries, like I showed you from the Windows version, looks almost the same in the mobile phone. So you can download the dictionaries on the phone, which makes it, the search is much faster than if it's online. Because if it's online, maybe you go into a building and the connection is not that good, and it takes 3 seconds to search a word when you want it instantly. And also, if you are on a train or on a plane, you can be searching on your phone because you have downloaded the dictionary you're working with on your phone.
Got it. And for my grandmother, do you still have a copy of the DOS version available for her?
I have to look in our storage if I can find it.
No worries. But and then very last question. As far as the market itself for the type of solution, can you give me an idea of some of the trends that you see in the market or in your segment of the market? What you're seeing at a high level?
What I see is that people are talking about a lot about artificial intelligence and how they should use that in the organization. And a lot of people don't really know how they should use it, and they are not really aware of that. If they just go to ChatGPT and so on, everything is in the cloud. It's open. They reuse everything you write. And if you're working in an organization where you have corporate secrets and so on, you should not use this type of AI tools, but use WordFinder instead, because the translation engine that I showed you, everything is encrypted. As soon as you press escape and you leave that window, everything is deleted from the server and everything. There is no trace of what you just translated. It's only on your own computer that you stored the translation. Otherwise, there is nothing.
And that is clearly a huge, important detail for enterprise use of the solution. Understanding that it's not something that's taking any of their corporate data and putting it into any kind of a database. So it's absolutely unique and offline. Very nice, very nice. So I think that's important. So, well, at a high level, I really appreciate your taking the time out today to give our listeners a good overview of the WordFinder solution. We'll leave a link in the show notes for anybody that would like to get set up with a copy of WordFinder. And one last detail, just the off the shelf for someone that wants to get up and running and subscribe to the solution, how would they decide which version to get started with, and what are the costs?
The good thing is that if they go, you probably have a link that they can click on after here. So, and when they come to our site, they can choose either to subscribe on one dictionary, 2 dictionaries, or all the dictionaries. All the dictionaries WordFinder Unlimited. Otherwise, it's WordFinder 1 or WordFinder 2.
Okay.
One dictionary is $5.99 US a month. Okay. 2 dictionaries are $7.99 US a month. Okay. And all the dictionaries are $11.99 a month. Wow. So for $11.99 a month, you get all the dictionaries and all the application. For WordFinder 1 and WordFinder 2, you also get all the applications, but you only get one dictionary, and you need to pick that dictionary from the list, and you can only pick once, and then next month you can change if you want to, but otherwise you can only pick one dictionary. So I suggest that everybody should have all the dictionaries, of course, because then you can search in several dictionaries at the same time. The good thing also, when you come to our website, there is a 7-day free trial. So when you start subscribing, you can just go in. If you don't like it, if there is anything you don't like, you can unsubscribe within 7 days and we won't charge anything.
Wonderful. And I have to say, I've used the solution and I've tested the product, and we actually have a review that we did on the website. So I'll leave a link to that in the show notes as well. But really amazing what you and your team have put together. It really adds a lot of value to the world, and I think that's the most important detail. So I want to let everybody know that coming up on our next episode of Software Spotlight, we have Max Limmertink. He's the co-founder of Talos Growth, a service that helps LinkedIn users and pages grow their presence by strategically liking posts on their behalf. Talos Growth enables users to target posts with specific keywords, languages, and existing engagement to get noticed by and connect with relevant audiences. Under his leadership, Talos Growth leverages automation and optimization to organically expand users' LinkedIn networks and engagement. The service has become popular among personal brand builders, thought leaders, and B2B companies aiming to boost awareness and relationships through the world's largest professional network, LinkedIn. So once again, be sure to visit our website, softwareoasis.com, to access our free weekly AI newsletter and sign up for our upcoming 2024 AI webinar series. So Ola, thank you for joining us on the Software Spotlight today, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for being invited.